Hey everybody, I wanted to talk about coping with injuries because I have done it and I am currently doing it and it sucks. But there's ways to deal with it. I'm not saying just take Motrin and change your socks or whatever. This isn't talking about like dealing with pain or whatever, but this is more speaking to the second order effects. So like the psychological wrestling with the fact that one isn't as capable as they used to be, which I think can be especially hard when being in the military, you're held to a standard of physical fitness that's a lot higher than what a lot of people ever achieve, even if it is just, like Air Force PT test or whatever. It can be hard to go from being able to trust yourself and trust your body to do so much to, struggling with things like turning your head or getting out of bed or whatever. So I think that the best way to deal with this stuff is to just change your perspective. And I know that that's kind of hard to do, but hear me out. Physical capability is only one part of the sum total of you. You're more than just somebody who is there to dig holes or something. Like you have a mind, you have a brain, you have the capability to do so much more. And we've all met people who are in those kinds of positions. Think about your sergeant majors, your chiefs, those folks who at one point really did have to make it by just being able to have the physical output. But realistically, a command sergeant major doesn't need to be jumping out of an airplane and shooting people. Their role has transitioned into one of more of an advisor. And we could think about this with ancient tribal societies. Just because you're too old to fight or something doesn't mean that you can't offer service in other ways, like talking about strategy, using your experience. And so I think the way to cope with not being as physically capable as you once were is to do just that. Try to find ways to advise or to offer help in the ways that you can. Try to pick up new skills that don't require you to be physical or as physical in the same way. Be physical in whatever ways you can, but try to find ways to apply yourself mentally. Because I think that people who have achieved a high degree of physical fitness, at least for the most part, have cultivated a certain kind of mental discipline, mental toughness that can then lend itself to being able to just rapidly attack really any subject or interest or hobby or anything that you would be interested in getting good at. Yeah, the point is to just try to look for something where you don't need to necessarily define yourself by physical aptitude and capability, but rather where you can be really good at something without having to rely on that which is causing you pain or is degraded or whatever.